So hello golfers, this is Jess Frank and welcome to the Jess Frank Golf Academy YouTube channel here at the beautiful Deer Creek Golf Club. Today, the ultimate lag drill. Let's get right into it. So what I love to do with my students and showing them how you swing a golf club, you just need an alignment stick and an iron. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take this alignment stick, I'm going to put it off of my left shoulder, which is my lead shoulder here. I'm going to hold my club just slightly behind here, so there's a little angle to the stick. So that is a little bit of an angle to the stick, okay? So when I get down here, there's going to be my alignment stick is going to be just in front of my golf club. But you can see my golf club, my hand is right off my golf club. So what we're going to do is you can see there's a small separation between the golf club and the alignment stick. So now as I go back, I am going to widen the gap. So there's a gap between the alignment stick and the club. As I go back, I'm going to widen the gap as I go back between the club head and the alignment stick. Okay, so the ultimate lag drill starts with creating the proper backswing. So on the downswing, I'm going to keep the gap, so you can see I'm still keeping the gap as I'm moving down. And then I'm going to start to close the gap as I move forward, and I'm closing the gap as I come all the way through. And you can see how much my shoulders have turned in a circle, my club has moved in a circle, and the great positions that this can help any golfer achieve solid impact with these amazing angles that this creates. So I'm going to show you that again. So this is really simple. Sometimes you just got to put the alignment stick in your right hand, put it off your left shoulder, hold the club up, create a small gap between the club head and the stick, the shaft and the stick here. We're going to put this down. So there's a small gap. I'm going to, as I go back, increase the gap between the club head and the shaft, but you can see how much my shoulders have moved, my left arm's moved. Now as I come back down, I'm moving my weight forward, I'm moving this forward, I'm keeping the gap between the club head and the stick and the whole club and the alignment stick. And as I move forward, I'm going to close the gap and I'm going to move through, and you can see how far around I've gone. This is a drill I highly recommend that all golfers do. So now I'm going to go ahead and put this down, and I'm going to get into this here. So I'm going to picture that stick off of my left shoulder. As I go back, I'm widening the gap. Then as I come down, I'm going to close the gap as I get into impact. Now look at the positions this puts me in. My handle's forward, my weight's forward, my hips are open. There's de-lofting on the iron head. So there's de-lofted, I'm not scooping. And as I come through, I'm moving my shoulders in a circle. My arms are straight. My shoulders, hips, and knees have turned 90 degrees to the target line, and I have not flipped at all. Most golfers that come to me for lessons, what they do is they close the gap way too soon. So if I'm going to demonstrate what most golfers do and why they lose power and why they slice, is that when they go back, they take the club back and then they close the gap way too soon. Then you have chicken wing, and you can see how the shafts pass this. So they close the gap way too soon. So again, to do this drill, I highly recommend that people take their time with this. Do it slow motion, exaggeration, repeat, create the gap, close the gap, and what you're going to do is you're going to transfer momentum out to the club head. So I'm going to do this again. Create the gap, close the gap, and hit the shot. So we're going to go ahead and hit one here. Create the gap, close the gap, and I can't hit it much more solid than that. And every shot has a little draw on it. So I'm going to have Jonathan move around to the down the line version. So you're going to see an amazing angle from this line. All right, so golfers, I had Jonathan move the camera down the line. You're going to see where these amazing angles come into play. It's what all the greatest players do. And again, I'm going to show you here. I'm going to put the alignment stick off my left shoulder. I'm going to get myself lined up, and I'm going to go from having to creating a bigger gap with the club head and shaft away from the stick. And as I come down, notice where the club is. The club is not over the top. It's from off of underneath my right shoulder, creating an angle that you can transfer the momentum of the club into the back of the ball, closing the gap, working yourself around, and coming right around. So I'm going to do that again for you, slow motion here. We're going to start with a small gap, increase the gap, you're going to keep the gap, you're going to close the gap, and you know what? This is really cool too. The stick, my left shoulder is pointed way ahead. So you know I can't be keeping my head down and my body stopping. I've rotated my body, I've tilted my body, I've right side bend in my body, and I'm coming right through the ball. So now I'm going to throw that stick down. I'm going to create the same motion. I'm going to create a gap, big gap here. I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to keep the gap, and then I'm going to close the gap into impact and through. And I'm going to go ahead and hit a shot. So I'm going to create the gap, close the gap. And again, just cannot compress the ball any more perfect than that. So the ultimate lag drill of doing this with the alignment stick can turn you into a phenomenal golfer right away. And this is something that you could really look back, rewind the video and take a look as I come back. What all those people do normally is they're coming over the top. They come over the top. So what they look like as they come down, they come over the top and they chicken wing. So my left arm goes back behind me. So now when I'm doing this drill and I use the stick, the alignment stick, none of that occurs. It's impossible. You create the gap, you keep the gap, and you can see where that club head is so far behind me over here, is that from there, I can close the gap, and there's just so much power right there. And you can see on the front side, there's no chicken wing. I keep my arms straight, I move it around. Just a phenomenal way for you to practice. I highly recommend it. If you videotape yourself when you practice, which I highly recommend, and you see yourself coming over the top. But even if you don't, this is just a phenomenal drill for you to use. So I'm going to go ahead and do that again. I'm going to create the gap. I'm going to keep the gap. I'm going to close the gap. And I'm going to hit solid golf shots. Here we go. Again, can't hit it any more solid. So, if you're really looking to improve your game, try this ultimate lag drill. I know it's going to help. Golfers, I love helping you play better golf. It's a passion of mine. I've been doing it for over 20 years. So if you really enjoyed this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, share it out with your friends, and we'll see you soon.